Okay, so we're almost halfway through 2022, and Apple has had a pretty good year so far. We got the Mac Studio, we got the new MacBook Air, we got the Studio Display, amongst some other products. So what's next for Apple? Well, believe it or not, they have more products left to announce in 2022 than the products that they've already announced. First up, we have the iPhone 14, and here we're expecting 3 big changes. The Pro models are dropping the notch in favor of that punch pulse hole cutout. Then we're also getting upgraded cameras. So we're getting a brand new 48 megapixel sensor on the Pro models, and then the non-Pro models are getting the iPhone 13 Pro cameras. Still no telephoto, but the main and the ultrawide would be the same. And then the mini model will be dropped, and in its place, we will be getting the iPhone 14 Max. Essentially the same size as the iPhone 13 Pro Max, just with a dual camera module. I should also mention that this is the first time since the iPhone 3G when we're actually expecting the chips not to be updated across the board. So the iPhone 14 Pro is said to be getting that A16 chip, but the iPhone 14 is said to actually remain with the A15 that we have inside the 13 Pros. Then we have the AirPods Pro 2. The first gen came out in 2019, so it's definitely been a while. And the first change here is a potential redesign, one that drops the stem in favor of a more traditional earbud design. The case is also getting smaller, and apparently it's gonna have a speaker so that you can locate it using the Find My app. There's gonna be a new H2 chip inside for improved audio and improved noise canceling, alongside a new standard for streaming lossless audio to your AirPods. This is supposedly AirPlay based. Then 3, we also have the AirPods Max. They're getting a small update with no design changes and no new features, but they are getting some new colors. I think it would be awesome for Apple to allow us to mix and match the ear cups and the headband at purchase. Then we have the Apple Watch Series 8. One of the expected changes here is a new body temperature sensor. There's also going to be a new chip, the S8, which would be the first new chip since the S6. And aside from the Series 8, we're also expecting 2 new models. So the second gen Apple Watch SE with an always-on display, and then potentially a rugged version of the Apple Watch, something that has a full frame design and that is more durable in general, with satellite emergency features and a longer battery life, essentially aimed at extreme sport athletes. But then we have the M2 iPad Pro, which will have an M2 chip, of course, and potentially a redesign. So we've heard about it coming with a glass back in order to support the iPhone-style MagSafe. So wireless charging is coming, which is cool. And then the bezels are said to be thinner, but only on the 12.9-inch model. Then we have the regular iPad, the 10th gen, which is getting a larger display from 10.2 inches to 10.5. Also the A14 chip from the A13, 5G, and USB-C. It would be odd for Apple to keep the same design and just replace Lightning with USB-C. So I do expect a flat design here to match the other iPads. Plus, the current Apple Pencil does not work with USB-C. But more about the other products right after this. This video is sponsored by BandWerk and their luxury line of Apple accessories, including premium MagSafe phone cases, bespoke watch straps in a variety of styles, and the perfect AirTag keyrings. They can even use the same material for multiple items so that you have all of them matching perfectly. Check out BandWerk's lineup by using the link below. And now, back to the video. And then we have the 14 and the 16-inch MacBook Pros. Now, these are expected to keep the exact same design, but update the chips to the M2 Pro and the M2 Max chips. The M2 Max is expected to come with a 12-core CPU up from 10-core, and then a 38-core GPU up from 32-core, and it is expected to be based on a new 3nm process. This will be more power efficient, which should counteract the extra CPU and the extra GPU cores. So the battery life at the end of the day should be about the same as on the current models. Definitely don't upgrade if you have the current models, but for anyone who doesn't, and especially if you're coming from an Intel model, then these are going to be an amazing purchase. And then we have the Mac Mini, and here we're expecting to see 2 models. So there's an M2 model that may come in multiple color options, at least this is what the initial rumors were saying. But if we look at a new MacBook Air, I don't think we're gonna see more than maybe 4 colors at most. There's also the second version of it, which is said to come with the M2 Pro chip, and essentially sit in between the Mac Mini, the M2 version, and the Mac Studio performance-wise. But then we have the new 24-inch iMac, which is expected to have the same design as the one we have now, but updated with the M2 chip, and it is expected to launch at the same time as this new Mac Mini. Then we have the Apple Studio Display Pro. So this one has been rumored quite a bit, and it is said to come with a 27-inch display, but with mini LED functionality. Maybe promotion too, although that is quite hard to do, so if they do include it, it will require loads of workarounds. And the price is expected somewhere in between the Studio Display and the Pro Display XDR, so somewhere around $2,500 or so. And of course, we also have the Pro Display XDR, an updated version with just more local dimming zones. Now, if we do get promotion on the Studio Display Pro, then the Pro Display XDR will also get it. And the last remaining product for 2022 will be the Mac Pro. And this is also the last remaining Mac to still use Intel. We don't know much about this one, like we don't exactly know if the design will change, possibly. We also don't know if it's still gonna be modular, maybe, but what we do know is that it will come with a more powerful chip than anything that Apple has made so far. So the M1 Extreme, or the M2 Extreme, which will essentially be 2 M1 Ultras or 4 M1 Maxes. So that means 40 CPU cores, 128 GPU cores, and up to 256 gigabytes of memory. So 2022 is looking quite full for Apple, but what about 2023 and later? Well, this is a bit more speculative, but in 2023, we are expecting the iPhone 15 to finally switch to USB Type-C. This is, of course, because of those new EU regulations, but we've also heard quite a number of leaks and rumors on this happening too. And 2023 is also when the iPhone will add that periscope camera module that Samsung phones and others have been using for quite a few years now. There's also a larger version of the MacBook Air coming, a 15-inch size. We've seen this reported quite a number of times. And yeah, long story short, just the larger MacBook Air with potentially the M1 Pro chip as an option too. We've also heard about the 12-inch MacBook coming back. Now, that'll be quite interesting to see. I am personally very excited for that, to have a MacBook that's even thinner and even more portable than the MacBook Air. We also have another version of the iPad that is even bigger than the 12.9-inch model, so a 14.1-inch iPad Pro, or Russ Young was saying that this might not be an iPad Pro after all, so it could also be a larger iPad Air. But yeah, the idea is that Apple's trying to give iPad users larger displays that come closer and closer to what Apple has to offer on the Mac side. We could also see a second-gen AirTag, and that is because apparently Apple's been doing great in terms of the sales, and they are considering a second-gen model. I'm not exactly sure what this new model would have. I would assume an improved battery life and maybe a smaller form factor. Maybe even multiple designs. I think that would be awesome. You know how Tile has that wallet card design? That would be great for Apple to offer. And then of course we also have the M3 chip, which is rumored to be based on a 3nm manufacturing process. So just like the M2 Pro and the M2 Extreme, of course that this would be a more power efficient version of the M2 Pro and M2 Extreme with fewer CPU and GPU cores. And then if we look at after 2023, that is when I think it's even more exciting, because we have the Apple VR headset that is rumored to come in late 2023 or 2024. And that would actually be Apple's main focus going forward. That's the product that I'm excited for the most. We also have the foldable iPhone, which is something that Apple's also looking into. OLED iPads and OLED MacBooks are also coming around 2024. Not even to mention the 30-inch iMac Pro, so a follow-up to the discontinued 27-inch. That is also said to be launching again around 2024 or so. We don't know exactly, but it is something that will likely be coming back. And I guess the last one on the list would be the Apple Car. So we still don't know when this is happening or even if this is happening. Maybe CarPlay, the new version, would be the future going forward, where Apple's system fully integrates with the hardware of your car. But yeah, let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? And also, if you guys want to see a more detailed video on the 2023 products and later, then let us know in the comments because we will take that into consideration. So yeah, I'm Daniel, this has been ZONEofTECH, and I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.